Now, nobody comes close. The U.S. market goes back to Alexander Hamilton and the funded national debt. It goes back to Lincoln. It goes back to, it's a whole thing, a process of building this up. Now, I would warn people, if you mess with the borrowing, if you drive the United States into default, you're going to destroy that treasury market, and that's going to be a world catastrophe. That will mean that there'll be no world reserve currency of any kind because the Chinese don't have this. The Chinese are just now taking the first timid steps in making the renminbi tradable internationally. I mean, it's a tiny fraction.
But they are making the right decisions on investing in infrastructure.
Yeah, that they're doing.
And now they're talking about financing speed trains in the U.S.
Absolutely.
Because the United States elites, cannot invest in anything. It's all completely predatory. But where do you, I mean, obviously they're sending in troops for the first time in 16 years into North Korea, the Chinese are. Where do you, versus where you want to see it go, where do you see it going? I mean, as there's more and more announcements of the dollar being phased out. I mean, obviously folks are mad that the globe is being flooded with these, and we're already seeing evidence of inflation rearing its head in commodities across the board, from food to oil.
That's right. Now, again, nobody else has the apparatus to be a reserve currency. Nobody comes close. Not Japan, not the euro. Again, look at that U.S. Treasury.
No, the banking cartel and the SDR. They're transcending nations.
Yeah, but you don't have that U.S. Treasury market. That's something you can't just pull out of your pocket from one minute to the next. It's a real national asset. It's worth keeping. Now, the response of the U.S. elites, however, to the weakness of the dollar, right, to the tendency, there is a possibility that central banks will begin to dump at a faster rate, dump their dollar reserves, and they want to avoid this. Now, that gets us back to the question of the Middle East war. Now, we had a flare-up of Middle East war danger, I would say, back in July, August, September. I wrote some pretty big articles about how the U.S. attack on Iran was back on the front burner. In the first issue of the new year, the London Economist puts on the cover, another Middle East war, oh no, not again. And the idea is now that this is because Hezbollah and the pro-Iranians in Lebanon, essentially, have now built up this huge arsenal of rockets, which are not simply these old World War II type things, but now we've got some 200-kilometer, 300-kilometer short-range ballistic missiles with conventional warheads that could be used against the Israeli airfields in northern Israel. So you could imagine a multi-cornered war with Lebanon, Syria, Iran, and possibly Hamas from Gaza shooting rockets into Israel, and the Israelis, of course, retaliating like mad, and who knows where that will lead us. If you were watching Al Jazeera last night, there was a fairly interesting program about the various kinds of missiles that are now available, and we know that Hamas has gone back to shooting rockets in the past couple of weeks, and in December there's an example of somebody in Gaza shooting a Cornet missile at an Israeli tank. Now, the Cornet, look this up on the internet. This is an armor-piercing missile with laser-guided, and it's designed to go through the reactive armor on a modern tank. This is quite a formidable little piece of hardware.
Why on earth would the Arabs want to play into this conflict when it's clear the globalists want it? Webster, we are just out of time. We'll talk to you again very, very soon. Very informative. As always, Tarpley.net. We have your latest article up on Infowars.com. We come back, I'm going to get more in and got more into what happened with the ongoing dollar devaluation and what is unfolding there. But Webster, always great talking to you.
Alex.
Hope you're having a great New Year. All right, ladies and gentlemen, retransmission continues. We're going to retransmission now, 20 minutes here into the 4th hour.